Hello, YouTubers. How are you doing? It is Saturday, January 18, 2020. I want to bring you an update on the royal family saga pertaining to Harry and Miss Meghan. And this article is brought by the New York Times, and it reads as follows. The agreement represents one of the most dramatic ruptures within the British royal family since King Edward abdicated the throne in 1936 to marry an American woman, Wallis Simpson. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will stop using their primary royal titles, give up state funding, and repay at least $3 million in taxpayer money used to refurbish their official residence at Windsor Castle under the agreement announced by Buckingham Palace on Saturday. The unusual deal, negotiated by aides to Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Harry, and other senior family members, is intended to end a crisis that erupted 10 days ago when the couple abruptly announced plans to step back from their royal duties and spend part of the year in North America. However civil, the agreement codifies one of the most dramatic ruptures within the British royal family since King Edward abdicated the throne in 1936 to marry an American woman, Wallis Simpson. It is a spectacle that has enthralled and divided Britain, overshadowing even the country's impending departure from the European Union, and has provoked conversations around the world about race, privilege, and tradition. The couple plan to spend a majority of their time outside of Britain, initially in Canada, but later likely in the United States as well, according to officials at the palace. They will continue to carry out limited duties on behalf of the Queen and will retain another of their royal titles, the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex. Harry will also remain a prince and sixth in the line of succession, but under the deal, the couple will no longer use the primary titles, His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness, because they will no longer be working royals. They will be allowed to earn money in the private sector, though palace officials said the Duke and the Duchess had agreed that whatever work they pursued would uphold the values of Her Majesty, a phrase intended to allay fears that they will overly commercialize their ties to the House of Windsor. The Queen instructed her family last Monday to come to an agreement with the Duke and Duchess after an extraordinary family conclave at her country residence, Sandringham, during which she said she would reluctantly accept their desire to break away and chart their own future. The drama has plunged the royal family into perhaps its greatest crisis since 1997, the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, the mother of Harry and his older brother, Prince William. There have been reports of a bitter rift between the two princesses, and the couple's announcement blindsided the palace. Meghan, who returned to Canada afterward to be with their son Archie, appears increasingly isolated within the family. The couple has had a toxic relationship with Britain's tabloids, which soured on Meghan after initially giving her rapturous coverage, a 38-year-old American actress with a mixed-race background who brought a breath of fresh air into one of the country's most revered but hidebound institutions. In a statement, Queen Elizabeth said she recognized the challenges the couple have experienced as a result of intense scrutiny over the last 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across the country, the Commonwealth, and beyond, the Queen said, adding that she was particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. In a separate statement issued by Buckingham Palace, on behalf of the Duke and Duchess, the couple thanked the Queen and other members of the royal family for their ongoing support as they embark on the next chapter of their lives. The Duke said he would relinquish his honorary military appointments and his status as Commonwealth Youth Ambassador, though the couple will preserve their links to a network of private charities. The agreement takes effect later in the spring and will be reviewed by the palace after a year, according to a palace official. There are still several unanswered questions, like whether the Duke and Duchess will continue to receive publicly funded security, either in Britain or overseas. The palace declined to discuss security arrangements. Prince Charles will continue to provide the couple financial support, officials said, though it is not clear whether that money will come from the Duchy of Cornwall, if I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Duchy of Cornwall, his hereditary estate, which had funded the bulk of their expenses since they were married in 2018. Hammering out terms of the Prince Harry terms for Prince Harry and Meghan to shift to their part-time status was never going to be easy. The couple draw millions of dollars a year from Prince Charles, and the state also provides extensive police security for the pair, arrangements that will now come under scrutiny. The Queen gave the Duke and Duchess Frogmore Cottage, a historic house on the grounds of Windsor Castle, to serve as their primary residence. They came under criticism for refurbishing the house at a cost of at least £2.4 million, which is $3.1 million in American, in public funds. Repaying that money may buy them some goodwill. Reaction to the announcement on social media was generally positive, with many people praising their commitment to pay for the renovations. They will continue to use Frogmore Cottage when they are in Britain, officials said. The palace also declined to say whether and how it would monitor the couple's private sector activities. Other members of the royal family who have tried to enter the private sector, like Prince Edward, the Queen's youngest son, or Sarah Ferguson, the former wife of Prince Andrew, have stumbled. Prince Andrew himself was banished from public life last year by the Queen after he gave a disastrous interview to the BBC about his dealings with the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. The Canadian government had been cordial about the prospect of having Prince Harry and Meghan move there, but non-committal about whether it would pay for any of their security or other expenses. Most Canadians are very supportive of having royals be here, but how that looks and what kind of cost is involved, there's still lots of discussion. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said last week to the Canadian broadcaster Global News. Prince Harry last Thursday made his first public appearance since the situation unfolded, presiding over a draw for the Rugby League World Cup at Buckingham Palace. He looked tense under the glare of cameras but appeared to loosen up as he joked with a group of children playing rugby outside the palace. The Duchess is staying at an estate on Vancouver Island in Canada, where the couple spent the Christmas holidays. On this historic Saturday morning at Windsor Castle, age-old tradition mingled with unmistakable signs of change. Shortly before 11 a.m., the Scots Guards formed up in the castle's lower ward for the ceremonial changing of the guard. Standing in the shadow of St. George's Chapel, where Prince Harry and Meghan were married on a sunny Saturday morning only 18 months ago, they presented arms. After being inspected, the troops stood at attention as a detachment of new guards marched into the courtyard from a nearby barracks, preceded by the band of the household cavalry, sunlight glinting off their horns. As the old and new guards faced each other impassive under their bearskin hats, the band leader raised his baton. Tourists jostled and cameras flashed as the military band plunged into a jaunting rendition of Get Lucky, a disco-funk hit co-written by Pharrell Williams, followed by It's Not Unusual, the smoldering 1960s pop tune made by the Welsh singer Tom Jones. And that is the information brought to you by the New York Times. And another article I had read previously stated that on the Queen's desk were pictures of Charles, I guess Camilla, Prince William, and his wife. But there were no pictures of Meghan and Harry, which I thought was foul, because whether they were coming to this decision last month or not, why would you not have pictures of Meghan and Harry and Archie on your desk? They are part of your family. They're related to you. And whether you were going into or making the decision to, for them not to be a part of the royal, family, why would you not have pictures of them? So see, right there, to me, that's foul. I think it's a wonderful thing that they're branching out to go live a private life. I don't know how it's going to work for them, but I'm praying that it works for them. They have a son now, so really that's their main priority, is raising their son. And who wants to bring a child into the world and live in a hostile situation, because children can sense those type of things and that type of behavior, and that would be no good for them or the child. We will see how this works out. I think it's interesting that there was scrutiny about them, refurbishing the castle or the home that they were living in. I'm sure many people have made provisions. Naturally, it does cost a lot to furnish a castle, refurbish a castle, because it's a bigger home. And it will cost a lot because it's a bigger place. Not to argue the dollar amount, but just common sense. It would cost more. It's not like an average size 2,000, 3,000 square foot house. You're trying to paint walls and do drywall in. But anyway, I'm praying for their success of their marriage, the new transition. If they're going to be in the States, Canada, wherever, sounds great to me. I guess people will lay off the rhetoric about the home and the refurbishing. Now they're going to pay that money back. We will see how this transpires because it seems sad to me. But I think what's really sad is, as I state, the fact that the pictures weren't on her desk and the fact that they couldn't come to an agreement. And then the fact that you want them to uphold a standard of living outside of being in the royal family. Well, that's the point of them leaving. It's because you all couldn't come to an agreement, obviously, of how they should be represented and how they should live, and whatever the rift is. So now you also want to tell them how they should live privately. Well, but they're not going to be a part of the royal family. So it doesn't really matter what they do once they walk out those doors and they have relinquished their titles to the royal family. They will live as regular citizens. So it doesn't matter what they do, where they work, they will live as they want and do as they want. So you see, even now, you're still trying to have control over them as they're leaving to go live a private life, the Queen. I think that'd be a sad way to live. And this is a modern day, a modern time. Things are not the same as they were 30, 40 years ago with the monarchy. The world is different. Not saying there should be any type of disrespect, but just saying things are different, times are different. But I'm praying for their success and rearing their child, and I pray that everything works in their favor. Will they ever return back to their duties or will be allowed? I don't know, but I think it's sad that they're leaving anyway. But that just goes to show you all wasn't great amongst them. And obviously they had some serious issues for these two young people to come to this decision to leave in the first place. And I think if the Queen really cared about them, she would have done whatever it took to keep them there. That's my opinion. Thanks a lot. Like and share. Thanks for joining me. Rainy day in the high 10. Sorry I didn't say warm greetings. I was trying to hurry up and get this article because it was kind of winded. Apologize for that. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will be back with another update. Talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend. Bye-bye.